Alrighty guys, what is going up? Welcome back to the best investing money management channel on YouTube. In today's video, we are going to be talking about ARK Innovations ETF. Now, there's been a lot of hype and a lot of sell-off with this ETF. It's ticker symbol ARKK. Now, this one here is managed by the one and only Cathie Wood, who is pretty much a legendary investor over the past year who's had some crazy returns, right? She was one of the first people to actually call out Tesla and pool it in an ETF that had a ton of awesome holdings for growth. Now, a couple things. Anytime you guys are investing into a lot of these higher growth stocks, anytime you do that, it brings a lot of volatility with your investment. So this means 1 year you could have a performance of, 80% return. The next year you could have a minus 20% return. The volatility is going to be very, very high. But if you chose those stocks correctly over the course of 2 to 5, if not 10 years, you will see some crazy returns. So looking at ARK Invest right here, the ARK Innovations ETF, right? They have a variety of other ETFs, but we're going to be focusing on this one today. So you can see this had a little bit of sell-off, went from about $60 all the way down to about $33. Now, during this time, this was during the March crash. This was a crazy time in general, just with the whole economy. Everything pretty much saw a lot of sell-off. Now, once that happened, it did find some support near and around that 200 moving average line. So it pretty much hit it and started stair-stepping its way up. Now, if we actually draw this out, you can see if you'd have bought at the lows here and sold at the highs, that's a return of about 317%. Well, most people don't do that. They just invest and they hold it, or they dollar cost average it. So if you'd have bought this thing year to date on this, you're actually looking at a negative return of about 41%. But given that we still have this amazing upward trend, is this 41% decline something to be scared of, right? So for me, I am not scared of volatility, but I think volatility brings out a lot of opportunity. And the reason why I say that is because it all goes down to the holdings in this ETF. So if we actually go on the ARK Innovations website, you can see the top 10 holdings are Tesla, which is pretty much the leader of the electric auto space. We have Zoom. This is the only one that I am not a huge believer in for the short term. Long term, I think Zoom carries a lot of potential in the metaverse and a whole bunch of communications, being able to stay at home and not commute to a job. I think that's very, very cool. Then we have TDOC Health, which we saw a ton of growth in 2020 and 2019. We have Roku. Roku's a fantastic stock here. We have Coinbase. We have Spotify, Unity Software, and a variety of other amazing companies in here. So one thing you might notice is there is no, stable blue chip stock, right? There's not going to be a company that's going to be like Apple or Amazon or these massive blue chip stocks. These are going to be high growth stocks. Now, like I mentioned earlier, anytime you hold those stocks, that brings a lot more volatility to your account. And that's what we have seen with this. And I understand, ARK is acting more like the Titanic right now. And actually, instead of, carrying up, it's selling off. But looking at the performance here, you can see the 1 year performance is minus 23%. So, hey, I get it. Okay, we saw a lot of sell-off. The 3 year performance is about 37%, which is honestly slightly below average if you compare it to the general market. The 5 years, 38%, and the since inception is 25%. So honestly, I definitely think ARK carries a lot of potential, but also a lot of risk. And for me, I do think ARK carries, it is a buy, but you have to be smart with it. You have to dollar cost average it. You cannot buy it and hold it just because of the volatility. So what I do is I invest once a week into this. I don't invest much, maybe $20, $10, and I'm just very, very consistent. So what that does is when ARK has these amazing bull runs, right, where the stock just takes off and the ETF just takes off, I'm making a ton of money because my average cost is so low. And then once it sells off, I'm not scared. I'm continuing to invest in all of these dips, right? So now if it recovers or when it recovers, you make a lot more money because your average cost is so much lower and you're going to make a lot more money and you have a lot more shares. It's a fantastic way to invest, but the overall question, should you buy ARK, is yes, but with understanding your risk tolerance. And for me, I'm not investing, more than 5% of my portfolio into something like ARK. So what that means is for every $100 you have invested into other, assets, I would put about under $5 into ARK, maybe around $2 for every $100. If that makes sense. So about 2% of your portfolio. So that is it, guys. You can see if we actually look at the ETF in general, it does have a lot of potential. Not to mention the expense ratio is about 0.75, which is honestly slightly above average if you compare it to the general market ETF SPY, which is about 0.04%. So this is a lot higher. But with that, your overall hoping to beat that market. The typical holdings is anywhere from 35 to 55 and a whole bunch of other fantastic information right here. But guys, that's kind of what's going on with ARK in answering that main question of should you buy it. So I hope you guys got something of value out of this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you later. Remember to stay happy, stay positive, and stay safe out there. We'll see you later.